Seth Joyner alongside Everett Terry. I'm Scott Seidenberg coming to you live from Parx Casino, presented by Kingsmark Cabinets. We are live on the My New Philly Facebook page, YouTube, and Twitch, so there's no excuse for you to get a hold of us. A reminder to share this episode because sharing is caring. For every share, we will donate $1 to help us adopt. It's a great organization for a great cause, so you want to keep on sharing this episode with all your friends and comment. Send us your questions and we will read them live on the air. You know, guys, sometimes when you win a football game, it actually feels like a loss. And last night, for some reason, felt like a loss to me. I know the Eagles came back and they won in overtime, but part of me is not satisfied with that win and that performance over the Giants, Seth.
Well, you know, there's a reason why a game is 60 minutes. Because sometimes the game flows the way that you want it to, other times it doesn't. I mean, it's really a tale of two halves. I mean, you have Eli Manning posted, you know, over 220 yards of total offense in the first half, just scorching Ronald Darby, you know, play after play. And then you fast forward to the second half, and the Giants literally had 50 yards worth of total offense in a half of football. Off of, I think it was 19 plays, okay? Then you turn around and you look at the Eagles. Couldn't get out their own way in the first half. Injuries piling up on top of injuries. And then all of a sudden, you know, this young kid that no one's expecting anything out of, you know, flashes on the scene and injects this team with energy. Now, everyone's going to talk about Carson Wentz. And you want to know something? When the team plays well, the quarterback normally gets more credit than they deserve. When the team doesn't play well, he usually takes more of the criticism than he deserves. But I want to focus on Boston Scott.
Yeah, we talked about it a couple of weeks ago.
There's no doubt about it, you know. And I'm telling you right now, if Miles Sanders doesn't cramp up and go to the locker room, the energy and the balance of this game might not ever shift. Now, I don't like to see a guy get hurt, but him having to leave the field might have been the best thing that happened for this offense and for this team last night, because all of a sudden you get Boston Scott in. You run a screen, you hand him the ball, he's hitting the hole. You throw him a little swing pass and he breaks, you know, safety's ankle. And all of a sudden, that energy is starting to filtrate not only the offense, but now the defense is turning the corner. You know, so when I look at, you know, two halves of a game, and you could talk about feeling good about, you know, a win or feeling bad about a win, I think it's a monumental move. I think it's a monumental moment for a lot of reasons. Yeah, they needed to win to keep pace. Yeah, they got a lot of injuries. Yeah, I'm not so sure that making the playoffs is going to be all that great, quote unquote. But what it has done is it snapped Carson Wentz out of the funk that he's been in over the last 4 or 5 games. And I don't care what you say. When you look at Carson Wentz play in that fourth quarter last night, that's the Carson Wentz that the Philadelphia Eagles need him to be all the time. That's the Carson Wentz that won 12 games that got this team positioned for the Super Bowl 2 years ago. That's the Carson Wentz that the Eagles just paid over $100 million to be the franchise quarterback. And did he find himself? I don't know. But I mean, he's out there throwing to some guys, and some guys are injecting some energy in this offense that we hadn't seen. And the most telling thing is, yeah, he threw a bunch of balls to Zach Ertz, but he trusted a lot of these guys in ways that he hadn't necessarily trusted Nelson Aguilar.
You stole all my thunder here, Seth. Come on.
In ways that he didn't necessarily trust a Mac Hollins that got him out of here. In ways that, you know, up until last night, he didn't necessarily, you know, trust on an Arcega-Whiteside. So when you look at, you know, this win, it's big for a lot of reasons. You know, not only does it keep them in the race, you know, you got some young guys who are putting some older guys on notice that if you don't do your job, I'm here to take it.
Yeah,
okay? If I just get the opportunity, I will take your job. That's going to wake a whole lot of people up. And most important, Carson Wentz turned into, in the fourth quarter, okay, the Carson Wentz that we all thought that he could be.
So, to a lot of points, first things first, all right, so they beat the Giants. They were supposed to beat the Giants. They also lost to my Dolphins last week. So we're not going to gloss over that. That said, The Cowboys are self-imploding. I don't know what the hell's wrong with them. They don't want this division.
Jerry Jones.
Well, that might be true. They don't want the division. Apparently, the Eagles are middling around. They don't really want it either. 8-8 isn't going to mean anything in the grand scheme of things, because even if they limping at 8-8 or maybe 9-7, they're not going to win any playoff games. So, okay, fine. Be that as it may, they get in here. The big thing is, like you said, Carson Wentz actually looked like the guy that people have been beating up and ripping about not playing like the guy he was in 2017. You saw flashes of that yesterday. And to the point that you made that I was going to say, you know what was great about that game that you noticed? There was no Nelson Aguilar out there dropping passes. There was no, Alshon Jeffrey outside of last week playing like he didn't want to play for for the Eagles. So you had guys that were in position, making plays, catching the ball, running crisp routes. And you even saw a young guy like a Boston Scott. Listen, Corey Clement ain't played football all year. Darren Sproles has been out and injured. Jordan Howard, people were screaming for him to get on the field and play, but listen, the stinger is serious. You got to play when you can play. So now you're looking at it like, well, who's going to come in and be the guy? We know what Miles Sanders can do. Teams have schemed for him. Who's going to be the other guy to help balance that workload? And now you got a guy in Boston Scott who reminds a lot of folks of a young Darren Sproles.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Young Darren Sproles, he's fast, he hits the hole quick, he gets out there, he makes plays, he's shifty. And he has a little break power ability. He made guys miss and was able to run through a couple arm tackles. So seeing that tells you, all right, so they might have something in this kid. So now this is where you have to say, all right, Howie, let's fast forward past this year. Let's say the Eagles get in, they limp into the playoffs, they lose first round. All right, fine, great, whatever. What are you going to do to make this team better next year? You know for a fact you need wide receivers. A bunch of them, okay? Are you going to get some in free agency? Who are you going to go after? Who are you going to target? And who are you going to draft? You got J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, who finally looks like, hey, maybe he should play in the NFL. I mean, he clearly should have been on the field more than Mac Hollins has been all this time, because at least he catches the ball and runs routes that gets him open. What else are you going to do to add and complement? Yes, Zach Ertz got a lot of catches, killed me in fantasy. But what I'll say to that is Zach Ertz is supposed to be that guy. He's a top 3 tight end in football. He's supposed to be a feature part of your offense, no different than George Kittle, or no different than, you go down the list. Travis Kelce, that's right where Zach Ertz is. So him being featured in the offense shouldn't be something that makes other wide receivers upset. It should be, hey, he opens up for us because the safety has to come down to help, which gets us one-on-ones. So now we have opportunities to make plays. You just got to make plays. Moving forward, they won this game. Okay, they didn't look great. They didn't look amazing, like you said. Maybe it felt like a loss. The biggest game that everybody cares about is the Dallas game. That's the one that's going to matter. If they don't beat the Cowboys, none of this matters and none of it's relevant.
Yeah, but you got to go one game at a time.
Fair.
Of course.
Okay, they lost to the Dolphins.
Yep.
Everybody felt like crap.
No, they didn't.
They came back. Last night they started off looking terrible again.
Sure did.
I almost give
after
that a
the
pass,
practice.
but I almost give that a little bit of a pass because it did seem like the perfect storm for Eli Manning and the Giants to start out fast, right? Eli's coming back, he gets everybody energized. It's prime time, national television, Monday Night Football. The excitement there, the energy is there.
Slayton was a burner, man.
If there was a formula for Eli Manning to perform well, it was last night and it was early on.
I've heard that theory pregame throughout the night. I don't buy it. The Eagles don't have, the Giants don't have a damn thing to play for. Nothing. Okay? And you can talk about the sentiment of Eli and all of that, but the truth of the matter, if Eli still had anything left in the tank, Daniel Jones would have still been sitting behind over there on the sideline.
That's
okay?
true.
So, everything, such as life, is Daniel Jones' time, and it's time for Eli to either go play somewhere else or ride off into the sunset. The truth of the matter is the Eagles, after watching the Dallas Cowboys, try to continue to give them the division, they had everything to play for last night. For them to come out and start off the way that they started out, man, it was just absolutely ridiculous. It's okay. Are your players prepared? Have the coaches motivated you? How do you come out in the most important game of the season, and listen, every single last one of them, you're 100% right. They can win 2 out of 3. Doesn't mean for a hill of beans. Because if they don't beat Dallas, then it doesn't mean anything as far as the playoffs is concerned. Because if they lose to Dallas and they both go 8-8, they're going to lose the tiebreaker because they've lost twice in the division. Okay? But at the end of the day, how do you come out without the energy? And then all of a sudden you come out in the fourth quarter and then you find the energy with a bunch of players that you never envisioned being on the field? Oh, yeah. What about the guys that you're paying a bunch of money to? What about the guys that you're counting on to be the leaders? And we talked about it in pregame yesterday. What do the leaders need to do? The damn leaders need to play better. Jason Peters need to block better.
Yeah, you do.
When Lane Johnson's healthy, he need to block better. Carson Wentz needs to make better decisions. Dallas Goedert needs to play better. Malcolm Jenkins needs to play better, plain and simple. Rodney McLeod, I mean, all of these guys that you're talking about, when you're talking about leadership, those guys got to play better. Because you want to know something? They can talk all they want, okay? But whether you're a young guy or whether you're an intermediate guy who's following these leaders, they're watching everything you do. So when you say, hey, come on, guys, do this, and you ain't doing it, in the back of their mind, like, the hell you talking about? You just got your ass roasted a second ago. You know, you ain't making no plays. How you gonna tell me what to do? So you understand what I'm saying? When you talk about leaders, you can talk about Doug Peterson, you can talk about Jim Schwartz, all of those guys, they can't get on the field. They can't do anything but strategize. All they can do is move the pieces on the chessboard, okay? So they're empowering their leaders to lead the young guys. But if the leaders don't lead with production, the leaders don't lead by example, then you have no leadership.
Well, the leaders that were leading last night were the guys that came in off the scrap heap and off the practice squad that were busting their behinds because they got their opportunity. And you mentioned you don't want to root for injuries, but the fact that you got guys like Greg Ward and Boston Scott stepping up last night, that's probably what propelled, that is what propelled the Eagles in the fourth quarter to this victory, because they had these guys step up and play so well. We had a question here coming online. Richard Drummond says, how do Howie and Doug only allow 3 wideouts to dress for this game?
Well, they cut Mac Hollins and they cut Jordan Matthews. That's how they had 5.
You know, I give Doug a lot of credit, man, because you know they be peppering him, but I'm pretty sure before he stepped to the podium last night, because people on Twitter and social media was chiming in like, how the hell do you only dress 3 wide receivers, and you know that Alshon's been banged up.
Josh McCown was ready to step in and run some reps.
The last couple of weeks.
Slow as he is.
So when Doug stepped to the podium for his presser last night, that's one of the first questions they hit him with. And it's like, well, you know, Josh Perkins, you know, he's one of those tweener guys. He could play tight end. He could play wide receiver. You know, we worked with him in all positions last week, so if we needed to move him out. I mean, hey, listen. I sometimes
Hurts lines up at wide receiver too.
I mean,
so
sometimes some of the comments that Doug makes, it makes you scratch your head.
Absolutely.
But then there's other times where he rescues a situation with some of the most brilliant answers that you ever want to see, and you're like, how come he can't be like that all the time?
how come Carson can't be like
to
that?
talk about to last week say, oh, you know, that's a good football team over there. Come on, man. The Miami Dolphins are not a good football team. They caught lightning in a damn bottle last week, and that's why they won that football game. For you to say they're a good football team, you out your damn mind. Go ahead.
You want to respond to that?
We beat y'all last week, so we're better than the team we played last week. How about that?
And the clock is right twice a day.
Hey, listen, y'all still below 500.
Every day.
Come join us on the playoff comfy couch.
Yeah.
Watch the Super Bowl
a lot
with
of
us.
teams are under 500. you know, you talk about the first half and the difference between the first half and the second half, and especially the fourth quarter leading into overtime. The Giants' offense was completely inept in that second half. Yeah. A lot of it had to do with, I think, a change in coverage in the Eagles' defense. It looked like they were actually playing more press coverage in the second half, coming up on the receivers as opposed to giving them a cushion. Slayton had a ridiculous first half.
Ronald Darby who?
You want to talk about a guy coming up the scrap heap.
OBJ who?
Darius Slayton is balling out.
But you want to know why? Because on that first touchdown, they were coming with a blitz. It's all out blitz. Okay. When you look across the board, every cover guy was up in press coverage except for Ronald Darby.
Yeah.
Ronald Darby was 7 yards off. Okay, and then on the break, he took a bad angle. You know, I'm gonna explain in the whiteboard breakdown what actually happened with the next one, which is crazy because it's like 40 seconds before halftime, and you let a guy beat you on a go route. Why do you even play that coverage in that situation?
I will say this though, tell me that one over-the-shoulder catch by Slayton didn't remind you of Eli's pass to Mario Manningham in the Super Bowl. Same spot on the field, pretty much. Floated it over. Like, look, the guy might be washed up. The guy's career might be over, but he can still throw a couple of dimes out there.
Hey, listen, I've never really been an Eli fan for various reasons. But one of the main reasons is when I watch a quarterback, I want a quarterback poised under pressure. Okay, if you know that you're gonna get blasted, you know, then you might as well complete the ball and get the
versus fall down.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if you're gonna do one of these and throw it out there for somebody to intercept, you know, then lay down and take the sack. But if you know that you're gonna get blasted, you might as well make it count. Stand in there, deliver the football, and take the hit, roll with it, and get up and go play the next play. But when you watch Eli, he is that quarterback. He's gonna fall down, or he gonna throw it to somebody just to get rid of it, so he don't get hit. So I'm not a huge Eli fan. But one thing about Eli, if you give him time, he's smart and he can hurt you. Okay. Every single time that they hurt him that he hurt them in the first half, it's because pre-snap they showed their hand, and he still knows what to do. He might not be fleet of foot, he might not be the most mobile quarterback, but if you show him something pre-snap and he got anything to work with on the offensive side of the ball, he gonna make you pay.
We agree.
Yeah. Reminder, share this episode. Sharing is caring. For each share, we will donate $1 to Help Us Adopt. So the Help Us Adopt organization is a really great organization. Last month was National Adoption Month, so you want to make sure that you share this episode, because for each share, we will donate to a great cause. We got another comment coming in. Stephen Buckwald says, Seth is right. The issue is focus and motivation, something the Eagles had in the second half, but not in the first half. Motivation, the responsibility primarily of the coach. I love Peterson, but ET, as Stephen says, something is clearly missing with the coaching.
Well, we've talked about this at length. We don't know if it's Doug and schematics and scheme. We don't know if it's the fact that, it's a combination of him being missing the offensive coordinators. I don't know what, Mike Grove really does. That's, to me, like, I feel like Doug's calling all the plays anyway, and Grove's just there as a body in a seat getting a check. I mean, I could do that, but the point is, you need somebody that's going to infuse some sort of variety into that offense. You haven't seen anything new or innovative in that offense since Frank Reich left.
You did in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, you did. But I mean, he has to kind of create something with guys that nobody has coming off the practice squad that they don't know how to use. So you figure, how are you going to try to infuse into this offense with your regular guys when you get them out there to put them in positions to be successful? We've talked at length about using Nelson Aguilar where he can be successful. Quick slants, using him in space, getting him out where he can use his speed and his ability. We still haven't seen that. And we're, 14 weeks into the season? I mean, at some point you have to start to use the tools you have and, as they say, make chicken salad out of, chicken scraps.
Yeah.
I tell you, I will go back to, Doug Peterson, because he really gives you some nuggets if you really dig into it in his post-game press conference, And the media asked him, hey, what was the difference between, the first three quarters and the fourth quarter with Carson? And he said, I think tonight Carson began to trust some of his other teammates. He began to trust me. He began to trust the process. I mean, now.
Trust the guys that are on the practice squad a couple weeks ago?
Let me tell you something, man. You got to dig into that to really understand what he's saying. He's saying that Carson's been playing, and he has not really trusted my play calling. He has not really trusted the scheme of the offense. He might not even have trusted Nelson Aguilar.
Can't blame him.
Dallas Goedert.
Yeah.
Can't blame him.
And Alshon Jeffrey.
Can't blame him.
Okay? But you talk about guys coming off of the practice squad.
They hungry. They motivated.
He trusts those guys.
I would if I'm him.
Now listen, that ball he throws to Ward Jr., the one he dropped in the end zone.
Great work. Friend of the program.
Okay? Then he turns around and he comes back and he drills him on a third down play and almost breaks his chest open. I mean, normally, if you miss a ball like that, Carson doesn't come back to you, okay? Unless you're Alshon. So now, when you start to listen to what he's saying, okay, maybe Carson hasn't necessarily bought into, previously all the process and the coaching and the scheme and everything. And in the fourth quarter last night, there was some kind of shift where he began to buy in. And you did see some creativity. Come on, man. There was times where you had Miles Sanders and Boston Scott on the field at the same time.
I want to see more of that. I love having two backs on the field because you're almost but you're daring linebackers to cover running backs.
Well, because what you get is the minute that you get two running backs in the game, you force offense's hands to go regular personnel on defense. Okay, so they got 4 down, 3 linebackers. The minute you motion one of those backside of the backfield, guess who's got to go cover?
A linebacker.
So now you're creating the scenario that you want. And I would say, okay, you know, if I was up on the whiteboard, I'd say, okay, we're gonna go strong left. Okay, so that means I got the wide receiver out wide, I got the tight end, okay, and then I'm gonna go offset strong. So I got Miles Sanders in the I with Boston Scott lined up as the fullback, offset strong.
Yep.
Then I'm gonna take the X and I'm gonna cut his split way down, almost like he's a tight end, okay? Then I'm gonna take Boston Scott. If I know I got man coverage, I'm gonna motion him out to the weak side, pulling the linebacker out, and the minute the ball snaps, I'm gonna take X and I'm gonna run him on an over. Now I got Boston Scott on a linebacker with the whole side of the field to operate, and I can run any route I want. I can run a slant, I can run an option route, I can run a go.
Speed. The linebacker's not gonna keep up with him.
So I mean, there's so many things that they can do, but they got to get creative, and they got to begin play calling wise. Force defense's hands with the way that they design stuff, the way that they play call, and the way that they scheme.
Wasn't it about maybe like a month or 6 weeks ago on this very show that we said we wanted to see more Boston Scott on the field?
We did. I mean, I
we
told
said
you, man, you might as well call us Nostradamus out here, man. We predict things and they happen. We call it, you know.
It's Hit 'em High. We are presented by Kingsmark Cabinet. Seth's going to go check us out on the whiteboard in just a second, talk about some of the defensive coverages and what went wrong on that second Eli Manning touchdown pass in the Eagles secondary. But Kingsmark Cabinets is your go-to, guys, for any of your home improvement needs. KingsmarkCabinets.com or any of the Kingsmark Cabinets social media pages, whether it's Facebook or Instagram, Twitter, you want to check them out. If you have any home improvement needs, not just cabinets. They do a lot more than just cabinets. You know that. It's a lot more than just kitchen cabinets.
Very good work.
But check them out. Kingsmark, these guys know how to do the job. They're professional, they're courteous, and they're affordable as well, which is the main thing, right?
Agreed.
Exactly. So now let's head to the whiteboard, where Seth's about to show us what went wrong on that second touchdown pass.
So many times we get an opportunity, you know, recently to kind of break down what's going on defensively, especially coverage-wise, okay? So right before the half last night, we had a scenario where Darius Slayton right here, he had already scored a touchdown on Ronald Darby. They were in blitz coverage, man-to-man, just made a great play. Darby got turned around, missed the tackle, to the house. So with 40 seconds left in the half, we got a zero coverage blitz right here, okay? Zero blitz. Zero means that there's no safety in the hole. Man-to-man across the board. We're bringing maximum pressure to be able to make the quarterback make a decision right now, and that's it. But realistically, they only send, 7, because here's Rodney McLeod right here. Slayton has already done so much damage, and here's the sticks with 40 seconds. So what they begin to do is they begin to play a bracket coverage. And in this bracket coverage, what they're saying is that, okay, if this is the sticks, we got one guy sitting inside if he breaks in. We got a guy sitting out here if he breaks out. We're gonna cover the sticks, okay? But how do you beat bracket coverage? You beat bracket coverage if you read it, and Darius and Eli read it right away. The minute that Rodney moved in this position and Darby began to bail, he knew exactly what he had. So all he did was split him. Eli throws him the ball, touchdown, with 40 seconds left in the half. 40 seconds. Now, the worst case scenario is they complete this for a first down, time runs out, they kick a field goal, they only get 3 more points. But to give up this type of play with 40 seconds left in the half is almost criminal. This is the coverage that they should have been playing, okay? Because again, we don't care about the first down because they're running out of time. They don't have any timeouts, okay? So if you got the wide receiver here and you're afraid that this guy's gonna beat you deep because he has been beating you deep all night, I'm gonna put Ronald Darby up in this position, okay? I'm gonna jam him at the line, making him release outside, and then I'm gonna take Rodney McLeod, and I'm gonna put Rodney McLeod over the top. So Ronald Darby is underneath every single route, every in-breaking route, and I got Rodney McLeod coming over top of anything outside or anything up the field. Now, you can have this, we'll make the tackle, you kick for 3 points, but you can't give up 7 points with 40 seconds left in the clock. They were fortunate to come away with that win last night because the defense turned it around in the second half, and Carson Wentz and Boston Scott played a hell of a second half. Back to you guys.
That could have been a backbreaker, E.T. And the positive side of this victory is that it's the first time in 19 straight games that the Eagles won trailing by 14 or more in the second half. They had lost 19 straight in that scenario. Want to congratulate Andre McDaniel for winning our Vouley-Wear giveaway. Gets a free pair of these Vouley-Wear glasses. You can snag a pair of these Vouley-Wear glasses at Omega Optical. They got 2 locations, 1701 JFK Boulevard and 3213 West Cheltenham Avenue. So congratulations to Andre McDaniel for winning the Vouley-Wear glasses. Those things, you wear them a lot, man.
Yeah,
you
do.
rock those things.
I on my sheet, I wear them.
I see you. Let's go around the NFL because it was an interesting week 14, including the game of the week, which was a shootout that I don't think many people expected. We thought that the 49er defense was going to be able to limit Drew Brees and the Saints, but it might as well call them the San Francisco 48ers because they put 48 up in the Dome to win that game, improve to 11-2, and have the inside track on the #1 seed in the NFC.
Listen, man, the 49ers are a problem.
They're legit. They're legit.
The 49ers are a problem because when you look at them offensively, they've got multiple weapons across the board, and they found another running back.
Yeah.
So they got three running backs.
Was he a former Eagle?
Yes, he was. Stay out of my Twitter line.
I'm just saying.
So they got three running backs, and you got Deebo Samuels, who's like a running back playing wide receiver. You know, an Anquan Bolden type.
Yep.
Sanders is playing out of his mind.
What a trade.
Got him for nothing.
That's how you win.
That's what makes the
That's
Eagles
what winning
fans
organizations
mad.
do. You go out and get a player like that.
For nothing.
That trade right there might have flipped their entire season.
Absolutely.
Puts them in the NFC Championship.
Yeah.
For sure.
And then, you know, George Kittle in that last play, man, what can you say? I mean,
he's a beast. Top 3 tight end.
It comes down, you know, to desire. You know, you want a guy like that on your team because you know he's going to fight to win. And all that matters is win. He don't care about anything else but win. Just country strong, just, you know, eat my can of spinach, you know, come get me if you want. I'm going to drag you through the mud. I mean, who wouldn't like playing with a guy like that? So San Francisco is going to be a problem.
The NFC play is going to be wild.
And defensively, they'll figure it out. They're beat up on the defensive side of the ball. If they can get healthy before the season is over, they're going to be a real problem.
See them and the Ravens in the Super Bowl? Listen, I don't see anybody beating those Ravens. I don't see Kansas City or New England beating them.
I tell you what, you know, Lamar Jackson ain't doing too well. You know,
he might not play on Thursday.
And when he does,
they could beat the Jets without him still.
And when he does come back, you know, if defenses are smart, I'm trying to figure out which thigh got the bruise because he's gonna get another bruise on when he come back.
That's terrible.
Hey man, that's just the way the game is, man.
Are we gonna talk about the cheat rates or no?
Wait a minute. Let me ask you a question, okay? When big cats are hunting prey, okay?
Do they, wounded ones.
Do they go after? Do they go after the fastest or the strongest?
No. They low hanging fruit.
They looking for the one that's kind of limping. They like
behind everybody else. You gonna be dinner.
Come on, man. It's the same thing, man. That's the way any sport is, man.
I thought the Bills actually played them really tough and not necessarily showed a formula for how to beat them, but that's the type of team that can beat them.
Well,
physical, defensive.
But you can look at what they did to get clues on how to rein Lamar Jackson in. It's just a matter of time. The defenses are going to catch up. I'm telling you right now, Bill Belichick has already got it figured out. From the time that
he better get out of his own way.
From the time that they lost, he's been working on trying to figure out how to stop him. And I guarantee you, he's always playing chess when everybody else in the league is playing checkers. So he'll figure it out. He'll figure it out this year. The rest of the NFL won't figure it out until next season. The question is, can Greg Roman, if he doesn't get a head coaching job next year, can he adjust to the adjustments to keep Lamar Jackson on the uptrend? Because teams are going to adjust.
So speaking of Bill Belichick, we gonna talk about videotaping signals
Man,
again.
I don't care about that.
Again?
I don't care about it.
Again?
I don't care about it.
Why they always got cheat?
Why they
always got cheat?
everybody
If you
cheat.
ain't
Yeah.
cheating, you trying.
Everybody cheat.
But I've
They need to stop.
But I've
Everybody.
always said this, and Seth, of course, you know it better than all of us. It comes down to execution. The offense can line up and actually tell you what play they're running.
Listen.
It doesn't matter.
So you remember when the Redskins had the Hogs?
Yeah.
Okay. Every single time that they line up, one back, two tight ends, you know they was gonna run. They're gonna double down, run the counter O. Everybody in the stadium knew what they was gonna run. Okay. We knew, they knew, the coaches knew, and the fans knew. Okay. But could you stop it? That was the question. They were going to execute it. Could you stop it? I don't want to hear nothing about the Patriots and their cheating and all of that. Get out of here with that nonsense, okay? Because you want to know something? You got to execute, and you got 11 guys, so you got 11 battles. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to win those 11 battles on every single play. You're going to tell me that having some foreknowledge helps you win the battle? No.
Heck yeah.
No, because if I'm covering you man to man, all I need to know is that you're releasing into a route or you're trying to block me. Now, if you're trying to block me, it's my job to destroy you. If you're trying to run a route, it's my job to cover you. So all that other stuff goes out the window.
Yep.
I don't even care about it. I don't even want to hear about it. Everybody wants to make a big deal about it. You hate them. You don't like
Yes, I
them.
hate 'em.
Beat them. Stop them.
Well, the Chiefs beat them, and the Patriots have 3 losses this year. All
Yeah.
3 losses are to the 3 other division leaders in the AFC.
Yep.
The Chiefs, the Texans, and the Ravens.
And they got 2 games against these Bills.
Best to get it out of the way when you can.
They got another game against these Bills.
So I ask you this, okay? Why do we feel like, the Patriots are in the position that they are? Has Father Time, in y'all's opinion, caught up with Tom Brady?
Yes. He's not the Tom Brady he was 3 or 4 years ago.
You could say that. I think that offensively they're not as effective as they were. They don't have the weapons that
We
they
Gronk matters.
desperately need. Gronk is a huge loss. Not having that big wide receiver is a huge loss.
Agreed.
You can't always rely on Julian Edelman and a bunch of clones of Julian Edelman
And
to get the
James
job
White,
done.
Right.
So I would tell you this. If you think that Tom Brady is done, you crazy. If you think that Father Time is caught up, you even more crazy.
Okay.
You want to know why? Look at his offensive line.
Yeah.
That kid that plays right guard, Cannon, whatever, he ain't got no business in the NFL. Okay? He couldn't block me right now. That's the first
I'm
part.
through.
They can't protect him. I mean, he's got one read, and if that read ain't open right now,
Yeah.
he's
away.
on his back.
He's running. You see
Listen,
him running?
They
Oh
can't,
my God, that was like watching molasses
they
jump out of a
can't
bowl.
they can't run the football. They got young guys who don't know what routes to run, where to line up. They dropping balls all over the place, and they're putting so much undue stress on the defense that sooner or later the defense can't play as good as their defense is. And I think they're better on the back end than they are up front.
Yeah, clearly.
Okay.
Yeah,
We
Gilmore's
agree.
phenomenal.
But the defense cannot play 16 perfect games. They can't carry you for 16. Sooner or later, the matchup is going to catch them, okay? And against the 3 top teams in the AFC, it's already happened.
And they still got a game against the Bills.
And they got the Bills.
Bills could take that division.
Hey, listen, I'm telling you, the Bills are not going to take the division, but I'm going to tell you this right now.
They're one game back, and they got to play him again.
Don't matter.
Okay.
Don't matter. The Bills are going to beat the Bills.
What's
the
crazy-
Bills ain't beating the Patriots.
What's crazy is we're all reacting to a Patriot loss. If Bill Belichick had a challenge, they win that game. N'Keal Harry scored a
Oh, yeah, he
touchdown
definitely did.
that was
Yeah.
called short. They had to settle for the
And
field
when it
goal.
happened, I did this.
He didn't have a challenge, and at the end of the game, a non-pass interference call.
Hey,
if he had a
let-
challenge,
let- let me-
it would have
well,
been reversed.
Let me tell you
and they would have
this.
won that game.
Let me tell you this.
And then we'd
You
be
know-
talking different story.
You know what I don't like about replay? What's challengeable and what's not challengeable.
You remember to challenge anything you want.
The essence of replay
To get it right.
is to get it right.
Thank you.
When the officials miss it, the essence of its creation is to right the wrong, to maintain competitive balance.
Yes.
Okay? So now, if New York is watching in the last 2 minutes, they'll stop it, they'll look at it. New York is watching the whole game.
I
So you tell me.
100% agree with
So
you.
you tell me why in the world didn't they stop the
100%.
game and right the wrong?
I-
You're gonna penalize him because
100% agree.
because he used up all his challenges.
Couldn't agree
You
more.
saw that it was wrong. Make it right.
The NFL, NFL head coaches have so much to worry about during the course of a game. You got to take this challenge flag away from them
nonsensical.
and let the booth control all reviews. If they see it, if it's egregious, they correct it. That's it. Take it out of the coach's hands and just fix everything. Because you're right. The
We've
purpose
already
of
seen
replay
that
is to
when
get
they
it right.
replay clear pass interferences, they still get it
That's
wrong.
a joke. That's a joke. I'm saying, take it away from the coaches challenging that. Only let the booth come in and change it if it's
But then it
egregious.
comes down to whether or not the booth should be challenging all types of things. Guys getting face masks, guys getting flags, guys that wasn't a whole.
No, I'm talking about you listen. You got to take into consideration what's clear and obvious, okay? This whole pass interference thing has evolved because of what?
Because of one play.
Because of one play in the Saints game.
Yep.
So I ask you the question, how many times are referees going to miss that call?
Once it happened a few times.
Once in 30 years. Come on, man. I mean, that was so blatant what Mikael Roby did last year. There's no way that was not pass interference, okay? That's just factual. But now you have an adjustment in the rules which affects the rules on a much broader basis. Because at the end of the day, the instant replay was created to get it right.
Yes.
At the end of the day, it was created to get it right. So if you're sitting there and you're in New York and you're watching a game and you see something that's wrong, because you know the human error of being an official and how fast the game goes and how fast the game evolves, stop the play and get it right. Plain and simple.
Couldn't have
Plain
said it
and
better. We're going to get to our Kingsmark keys to a victory over the Redskins coming up in just a bit. But first, this word from Parx.
The new Parx Casino $10 million sportsbook changes everything. It's a whole new ballgame at Parx Casino. Watch every single game and sporting event you want on our custom-built 154-foot wide, $1.5 million screen, capable of showing 36 events at once. Bet all the hot action and enjoy tap after tap of amazing craft beer, cocktails, and pub food favorites. Your entire game day destination is here for you and your friends. Sportsbook, beer garden, and Liberty Bell Gastropub. Parx Casino, bet with the best.
So the formula is simple for the Eagles, right? Just win out and win the division and you're in the playoffs. I know it comes down to the Cowboys game, but if you win every game, you control your path. I don't like to say fate because fate's predetermined, so they control their path. And it starts with this Sunday against the Washington Redskins. So my Kingsmark key to a victory over the Redskins is simple. More Boston Scott. Let's see more of this kid get the football. He's fast, he's electric, he's dynamic. Let's see him more with the ball in his hands. Even if Sanders and Jordan Howard are both healthy in this game, I want to see this kid on the field more. I want him to touch the football more, and this is like a get-right spot. Use this game to work on some things to get ready for that matchup against the Dallas Cowboys, ET.
So, before I get to mine, so you're saying he should get 15 to 20 touches?
No, 10 to 15.
Oh, 10 to 15. Okay, all right.
7 to 12.
Okay.
How about that? 6 to 11.
That's good. That's good. Hey, I like 6 to 11. So my Kingsmark key to the game is don't get beat deep, Ronald Darby. Terry McLaurin will play, okay? And he's another speedster that the Eagles missed on in the draft. He's another guy with burners. Dwayne Haskins has a rocket arm, hasn't had the kind of start as a rookie quarterback that you want. But if he knows that Terry McLaurin can fly, it'll be nothing but go routes and bombs all day long. Please prepare. Use Seth's whiteboard to figure out how you're going to bracket cover guys and not get beat deep. Don't get beat deep, and they should win pretty easily.
Listen, my Kingsmark, key to the game is really simple because at the end of the day, you're playing against a rookie quarterback that the owner wants, that the coaches really don't want to play. Okay? Now, Adrian Peterson can still play. I don't know what y'all been watching, what people been watching. He can still play. So the Eagles better buckle up and be ready to take, that number 4 ranked run defense into Washington and figure out how they can get him under control and put the offensive game squarely in Dwayne Haskins' hands. Now when you get that, okay, some of that blitzing that I talk about, they got to come with pressure because our defensive front just does not get home 4 on 5, but they got to pick their spots and they got to disguise it. Because I can guarantee you what's going to wind up happening. The same thing that the Rams do. The Rams break the huddle with 20 to 25 seconds. You want to know why they do it? So that Sean McVay can tell Jared Goff, after he looks at the defense, what plays to run, okay? I would imagine that you're going to see a whole lot of that on Sunday with Haskins. They're going to break the huddle early. the coach is going to be standing on the sideline telling him, okay, this is what they're in, this is what I want you to run. The Eagles have got to wait till there's like 12 to 10 seconds left on the play clock, or at least wait to 15 seconds till they cut the communication.
Mm-hmm.
Once they cut the communication, now move into what you want to play and put the pressure on this quarterback to make good decisions. Before the game is over, if Case Keenum ain't in that game next Sunday, it's a problem.
And look, the Eagles put together about a quarter and a half, we could say, of good football last night. Build off that momentum, and now let's make it 5.5 quarters of good football.
Just keep doing offensively what you were doing last night. Continue, spend this week to continuously be more creative and integrating Boston into the game and trying to figure out how you integrate Greg Ward and some of these other guys who are just starting to get on the field and play. And then watch how fast Nelson Aguilar and Alshon Jeffrey start getting well.
Those knee and ankle injuries are going to suddenly heal up.
They're going somebody's going to touch and lay hands on them, and I guarantee you they'll be healthy by next Sunday. You watch.
Well, before we get out of here, we want to thank you guys so much for tuning in. Make sure you guys continue to share the show as every donation goes to help us adopt. Again, thank you so much for watching Hit 'em High right here on My New Philly, where something's always new and everything is always Philly.
Bow, bow.